Hey, hey everyone. Welcome to the CSI Secret Store community meeting. Today is the December 12th, 2024. This call falls under the CNCF Code of Conduct. It'll be recorded and it'll be published to YouTube. Um, I will help moderate the call today, and then Ben is going to help with the notes. Thank you, Ben.
I wrote that in since it seems to be the way we're rolling, but if you had to change that I guess.
Nah, it's good. Thank you. Okay, so we have a pretty light agenda. I think it's a couple of questions I think Abhijit had. So, Abhijit, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so first two are the two PRs uh, where I want review. Uh, and yeah,
Okay,
so this
so
yeah,
go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. No, go ahead.
No, so I think you had pinged me about the use requires republish one. So I'll take a look. Uh, we've just been like pretty swamped with all like KubeCon, and then also I've been traveling to India. So, but I will review this by early next week so that we can get this moving forward.
Sure. Just a minor update from the last meeting. So earlier I planned to make the changes in the two phases, that removing the unnecessary file.
Hmm.
So I have added those removal of unnecessary file in the same PR only.
Is this the commit?
Uh,
Remove unused reconciler code?
no, the second last, remove permissions required for reconciler. If you go into the files,
Okay, so you're
yeah,
removing the
so
token
from the
request
manifest,
permissions.
yes,
Okay,
this will just ensure that when we are installing the driver from the manifest, without even those extra permission, everything is working in the E2E tests.
got it. Okay, okay. Any other question you had in this PR, Abhijit, like before we review, or anything we need to
No,
note?
nothing.
Okay. Cool. So yes, I owe you a review. I will review it by early next week.
Yeah, thanks.
And this one is for the sync controller.
This is a single line change, but it is also pending for.
Got it.
Even I
So,
don't know the reason how this why this solution works. I just compared the two repositories and I found this difference.
okay. And you
So
validated this works?
yes.
Okay. Okay.
Did
So
we
I,
ever do we
good.
know why? I think I left that comment a while ago versus this.
No, but I just took a look at the our CSI driver repo, and there we are using the hyphen uh, 0.
Interesting.
This one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I think this is fine. It's also a pretty small change, so I don't think it's an issue. I will LGTM this one today.
Yeah.
Why did the LGTM cancel? Yeah. Oh, did you see this comment? Okay, I think you said done. Okay. Okay, cool. I will LGTM this. Why are the tests failing? Oh, this is the image scan. Okay, no
Yes.
worries.
Too many requests too.
Yeah, I fixed that in the driver. I think I just have to open up PR in the provider, in the controller. Abhijit, maybe I will CC you on that PR if you want to review it.
Sure.
Okay. So that
Yeah.
covers the first two topics. What about the third one?
Yes. Okay, sorry. One point I forgot to mention in the agenda. Maybe we will jump on the last point at the end. So adding the update around the A2A test for the GCP provider.
Hmm.
So I tested the things. Things are working. The only thing we required there is Okay, so earlier we used to use a secret from our internal project for the
Hmm.
testing. But as per the new guidelines from the community, our test should not. Okay, so this is my this is our internal project. But as per the new guidelines from the community, we should not use any project from which has dependency outside the community infra.
Okay.
So I have raised another PR in the Kubernetes IO repository where we can get a rental project. There I can create a secret, and we can use that secret, GCP
Okay.
secret.
Do you have a
Once
link to
we
that
get that,
one?
yeah, I put that in our Slack channel. Maybe I will put it here on the PR also.
Yeah, also like if you want to just put in the agenda so that we have it for history.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So do you know when you will get those resources? Like, do you think it's something that will happen in the next week?
Actually, the changes are reviewed, but those people, the reviewers also were waiting for the release of 32. So I hope I will get the approval by this or the next week,
Okay.
and they can include my changes in the next release, where they can apply the settings, and I can get the permission.
Yeah, cool. And then whenever this is ready, just ping me so I can review it for
Yeah,
you.
yeah. And one more
Yeah.
advantage of that would be uh, right now in the GCP bats we are not testing the rotation feature.
Okay.
Once we get the secret from the rental project, we can modify those secrets and we can test the rotation also.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think once
Okay.
we get the pull request one done, we also have this post submit job for GCP. So once
Yeah,
we
I will
merge the
configure
PR, we
that.
can do. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Cool.
Uh,
That's
okay.
great.
So the yeah. Now the last one is little bit. I don't know why this hyperlink. Yeah, the last one is little bit interesting. So when we're internally reviewing this feature of sync controller, the permissions required for that. So one of the interesting thing that we our security team flagged that why it required the service account token permission, and is there any other way to avoid it?
Hmm.
So generally, security account token creation permission is little bit highly privileged permission, right?
Hmm.
So you can, if it is exposed, one can do the uh, request for the other tokens and do malicious operations. So
Hmm.
one solution that we found is like, so when we run our controller pod, or we can say manager pod, it is run by one user. I forgot the name. If we use the same account while creation of our secret sync object, then we don't need the permission, the service account token create permission.
Wait, so are you talking about the permissions in the secret store CSI driver or the sync controller?
No, no, sorry, sync controller.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about the sync controller. Uh,
Yeah.
Go back. Which user are you referring to?
Okay, just give me a minute. Maybe I can pull up that user. I think I missed that. Okay, so our pods are run with a service account, right?
Which pod? Are you
Let me
talking
see if
about
I
the
can.
sync controller pod or the workload pod?
Yeah, sync controller pod, inside which we run our provider container.
Uh-huh.
Uh, just a minute. Let me find out the name of that. Yeah, the name of the service account is Secret Store Sync Controller Manager.
Hmm.
So let's assume I want to fetch a secret, and I want to sync that secret. So in our secret sync object, We also provide the service account, right?
In
And if I
the
provide,
uh-huh.
let me put it in the chat. If I provide this as a service account, then we don't need the service account token creation permission. So the overall idea is like if we can provide a flag where customer can decide they don't want this permission, that privilege permission, and they are okay to have service account that's a secret sync object to have this service account only. They can use the pod identity to make the request, and they don't need the token creation permission.
Right, but you are not using the pod's identity, right? So the reason that we had service account name as an input in the secret provider class, no, the secret sync object, is so that we can say that service account name is the workload. So like if you look at the driver, right?
Yeah.
Today, when Kubelet makes tokens for the workload, it basically generates service account tokens for a particular workload, not for the driver or like the provider. So it's not like the provider is using its own identity, but rather it's using the workload's identity. So in the driver scenario, we actually know what a workload is. It's a pod that gets created. So service account is mapped to it, kubelet generates a token for it and all of that. But we don't necessarily have a concept of workload like a pod in the secret source sync controller. So instead of that, what we did was we treated the secret sync as a workload and said,
Yeah.
put a service account on it so that we will generate a token for that particular service account and then give it to the provider. But if you
Okay.
don't do that method, right,
Yeah.
basically that one controller, even that controller now just will have permissions, right? Like you, if you're going to use that service account of the controller to configure, like if you have four different secrets manager, right? You're basically going to
Yes.
say this controller service account is allowed to access any four of them. How would you restrict a user from creating a secret sync where they're accessing something where they shouldn't be? So let's say there are four different namespaces, right?
Yeah.
You would basically create a secret sync in namespace one, namespace two, namespace three, namespace four.
Yeah.
Namespace one should only be allowed to access secret manager one, but by giving the service account of the controller permissions to all the secret managers, you are basically allowing secret sync in namespace one to just be able to reference any secret manager and it'll just work.
Isn't that we can provide the permission at the secret level, not the entire secret manager?
No, I mean, even there, right? Like I'm saying the scenario where you have different instances and you want to constrain which instance of the secret manager can be accessed by which service account. Like in this case, you would basically say the controller service account is just able to access every single secret manager, right? Because if you don't do that, it's going to fail.
Yeah.
Like namespace one will work, but namespace two will fail because the controller will try to use its own service account to access secret manager two, and the request will fail, right? So this is basically the God level permissions problem that we're trying to solve, right? We don't want the controller to use its own identity because if you do that, that controller needs to have permission for everything. But instead, we are saying you can partition that by putting a service account for secret sync. And like, for instance, if you're doing workload identity, right, you would basically say a secret in secret manager instance one can only be accessed by this particular namespace and service account namespace and name. But if you use the controller's service account, you can't do that constraint. Like anyone can just create a secret sync in the cluster. And if they know the secret manager name, they would just be able to get the secret. Like you can't block it in any way.
Yeah. Got it.
So that was the problem that we tried to solve. We were like, if you look at the driver today, right, it's not possible. Like even if you create a secret provider class and if you're doing workload entity flow, right, you would create a pod in namespace one. Kubelet will generate a service account token for namespace one and the pod service account. And when the token comes to the provider will send that token for workload entity flow, and then basically like see if that namespace is allowed to access. And that was the reason we said this was true workload identity. Like the driver never used its own identity. And we wanted to basically replicate that same good security design in the controller, which is why we said secret sync is a workload. And that secret sync, because it's a workload, will have a corresponding service account reference. We will use that name to generate a token, and then you would just configure permissions for that particular service account. So you can still protect per namespace rather than just having a God level permission.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Okay, so I think that covers it. Anything else that you all want to talk about?
No, nothing. Just that the first PR,
Yeah, yeah,
it is there for a long time.
yeah, I know. Sorry about that. We'll get to it soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
and then the second one, I will review it today. So
Thanks.
cool. Uh, Abhijit, really quick, like, do you know of any users using Sync Controller with the GKE plugin today?
No, so their only concern is regarding these elevated permissions. So they want to even we are presenting this to our internal GK team.
Okay.
So like, can we uh, us recommend our customer to us them to use this provider driver thing? So they flag these two things. The one thing is now that account is getting the secret create permission. So can it affect the other secrets that already created? So we are trying to justify that, saying that we have the WAP in place, which will
Mm-hmm.
ensure that it is only handling the secret which it has created. The other concern was regarding the service account. Once we have the good reasoning from the GK team, so combinedly we can ask customer and we can uh, officially tell the customer that you can start using this sync controller with our provider. But yeah, first inside the Google, we need to take the approval from the GK security team.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, and then basically we have WAPs for everything, right? Like we have WAPs to ensure it's only updating secrets that belongs to the controller. And then we also have
Yeah,
WAPs to ensure the token request that it's making for like it's a single audience and all of those validations. So I would say use all of those and then let us know like what feedback you get. If there are any things that we can optimize in the driver, in the controller, like it'll just be good to get feedback. So let us know.
yeah. And I guess one of the thing, I did not go through the code in that depth, but right now we are not supporting the auto rotation, right, in the controller.
Not yet. So that is a requirement for graduating the project to beta. So
Yeah.
we will do that soon.
Yeah, and please let me know or any engineer from the Google can contribute in that if possible
Mhm.
to speed up this beta and GA graduation.
Yeah,
Whatever help
that'll
we
be
can, whatever
really
contribution we can
helpful.
do.
Yeah, that'll be really helpful. Like I
Yeah,
think if you have someone who's interested, uh, maybe we can start with them writing a design doc for how they want to do it. We can talk about it at this meeting, and then so we can help them on board, right? Like more contributors, great. And then also like as you all
yeah,
keep working, like there's a good chance for you to also become maintainers for the project, right? So that'll be really great.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you have any questions on starting, like having them start contributing, like just feel free to ping us on Slack and then we can talk.
Sure, sure, definitely. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else? Ben, did you have
No,
anything you wanted to talk about?
Not today.
Cool. I think that was a good meeting. Short, but good.
yeah,
Cool.
Be to the point. Get it done.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you,
bye.
everyone. See you all in two
Thank
weeks or maybe next year.
Yeah, the Christmas week will be there
Yeah, so maybe we'll
in the next
cancel
meeting.
that one because it's Christmas. So I think probably we'll all meet next year.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Thank you.
Nice.
Bye.
Catch you later.
Thanks. Bye.